I want to get into LeBron James. As we all know, or if you don't know, LeBron James is looking to start a new podcast with JJ Redick. I think it's called Mind the Game, I do believe. Um, so go check them out as well. Again, after you check us out first, make sure you subscribe to us first, then go subscribe to them. But anyway, and they talked about the most influential players in the history of the NBA. So I do have a clip here on what LeBron said, and I want you guys to watch it as well. And then when we come back, just let me know if you agree or disagree with what he said. So give me 1 second as I pull it up. Here it is. Oop, nope, that's the wrong one. Wait a minute. Nah, that wasn't it.
One thing I have learned.
Wait, that wasn't it there. I'm messing up. What's going on? It's the pressure. Uh-oh. Turning into Dak Prescott. That's not good.
Oh, here we go.
I'm just kidding. Here it is. Here it is, guys.
Long history of great players that have impacted the game. And you can see a lineage between different skill sets, right? Michael to Kobe, right? You can see that. I don't know that there's been a player that has influenced the game more than Steph. And you can certainly point to like Harden for sure in that era, Damian Lillard for sure, but you're right, it started with Steph.
When it comes to influence, since I've been watching the game, the most influence on the game, and obviously we know what Mike did for the game.
Sure.
You know, but Steph and Allen Iverson are the two biggest influential guys in our game since I've been watching it and covering it. You know, one, they're 6'3", 6'4", if you want to.
Steph's not 6'4".
If you want to look on the back of a basketball card, you know, you're always a lot taller on the back of the basketball card. You know, Allen Iverson and Steph, they were just so relatable, and kids felt like they could be them. They were guys that was not always counted on. They were small in stature, and they just defined the odds. So you got AI, who's like unbelievable crossover, cornrows, arm sleeve. We wear arm sleeve. Everyone wears an arm sleeve now because of Allen Iverson. And he's going in the trenches, you know, laying it up over bigs, whatever the case may be. And now you have Steph, who's shooting over the Empire State Building. You know, it's like those two are the two most influential when you say the game, how they changed the game, and the kids, and like, those are two guys that you just wanted to watch every single night.
I have an arm sleeve because of Allen Iverson. Like, no bullshit.
Listen,
no bullshit.
One of my tattoos is because of Allen Iverson.
You're on mute, Britt.
Oops, my bad. I guess to make sure I wasn't talking during the video. You heard what Allen Iverson said. I'm sorry, LeBron James said on who he thinks is the most influential NBA players. Do you guys agree, or do you think there's other players that came before them or even after them? K-Walk, I don't know. For some reason, just looked like to me you had something to say about this. What are your thoughts on this?
I just think this is a generational conversation. You know, I just think you go back a little bit and you ask Magic and you ask MJ, as LeBron alluded to. You know, who mentioned Larry Bird. I mean, you can go back further, and those guys. I think it's a generational thing. I mean, after Allen Iverson, when Allen Iverson came onto the scene. And then, you know, that's when LeBron was watching basketball. I'm not saying LeBron was watching basketball when MJ was playing, but LeBron wasn't that, you know, I don't think he was old enough to know it, but he's probably starting to get into it. But those two guys that he mentioned, you know, Allen Iverson and Steph Curry, are just guys after him. You know, you have to go back and ask me and Jay. Ask Jay and I, you know, who was their most influential guy. Jay played point guard at a high level in high school. You know, I was just one of those guys who was just an athlete playing basketball. I was okay at it. I wasn't really good at it, but, you know, I wanted to be like Mike. You know, back in the day, I wanted to be like Mike because it was MJ. But I mean, if you're asking LeBron, then that's what it is. That's what the most influential person or players to him are. But we talk about generation. We're not talking about all time. We're talking about generation. We're not talking about all time. We're talking about generation. No, just to use my voice. But they were, and to be all seriousness, they were influential, for sure, influential, for sure, because you like you mentioned, the cornrows, the sleeves today, LeBron, Steph Curry, shooting the ball as soon as they get out of the car or off the bus or whatever they had, they feel like they have that type of range. So definitely, I'm not arguing with that by any stretch, but I don't think we're ever going to, more and more I hear about these different debates, I don't think we're ever going to get to the greatest of all time, who's the most influential player of all time, but they are definitely up in that category for sure. But I think we got to get a panel of different guys and ask those guys who was most influential to you. Who did you pattern your game after? Or who were you what sneakers were you trying to wear, or what outfits were you trying to wear? How did you want your hair to look when you weren't playing the sport? So I definitely agree with those. It's been a debate of all for a long time. So I definitely agree with LeBron there, but I think we have to take it a step further and next to different generations for sure.
Yeah, K-Walk, I actually agree with you. Because from LeBron's perspective, during my time, the most influential guy was Allen Iverson. He came in prior to him, guys were wearing suits. AI came and was like, no, I want to wear what I want to wear. I want to be myself, which led to the NBA lightening up. And he took a lot of criticism and a lot of flack for that as well. They came at him hard, and I think they fined him every single time he would not put his suit on.
Yeah, right.
So he brought that hip hop culture to the NBA. That's why you see guys now with all these tattoos and the braids and the one arm sleeve and the headband even. I had, just like with JJ Redick and LeBron, I also had a one arm sleeve because of Allen Iverson.
My son wears a sleeve to this day.
Exactly. So but he did also impact the game. He came in with that crossover that they eventually had to ban because it was just beating everybody and nobody could seem to stop it for whatever reason.
And it was a carry. It was actually a carry. So.
Oh my god!
Which a lot of these guys did. Which is legal compared to what they're getting away with today, though.
True. All the stuff they do now, you gonna come at
that's
me
what I'm saying. No, that's what I said. That's why I correct.
Oh my gosh! Don't knock this man.
I knew what your response was going to be. That's why I said what I said.
I mean, it was other things. He did transform that guard position at his size and the things that he did on the court, if people can remember. I know a lot of people forget for some reason on what this man did, but he did transform that guard play at his size. So, but Steph, I agree with Steph, the 3-point game primarily and his impact. But I think we also have to give credit because he did mention Mike. But I think we forget other guys that came before them who impacted Michael Jordan. That was Julius Erving. Julius Erving was his favorite player. And he came out with the Converses and he was smooth with the fro and the dunking and all that highlight type stuff. So, and then if you go before them, it was Bill Russell. They did it in a different manner, but they had influence. Maybe they was more civil rights activists and things like that. But Jay, your thoughts on this?
I'm gonna go a little bit different here, Britt, because I mean, I know like we can talk about generations, and I agree, obviously, like that the point you guys made about that is true. But like if we're asking the question, like who's the most influential, like I think we can come to an answer. And for me, like that question starts and ends with Michael Jordan. Like I just don't think there was anyone that was more influential in basketball than MJ. And I know those other guys have had a big impact on the league, but Jordan is still selling more sneakers now than all the current basketball players that have sneaker deals. People start cutting their hair bald because MJ made it cool. Like the shorts, the little thing slightly below his knee.
Yeah.
Like there's not, to me, it's not even a debate. MJ was by far the most influential. I think you got to give Magic and Bird a lot of credit too, like pulling the NBA out of tape delay in the 80s. Yeah. They deserve a ton of credit. Steph, yes, I think he's changed the game in terms of like the 3-point shooting. And then like the other thing I'll say, like I think influential, like it depends on how you define it. Like, are you just talking about on the NBA culture? Because when I think about influential, I'm talking about like globally. Like, can you cross over? Like, do you have the impact not only on NBA culture, but to little Timmy living out in the suburbs? Are you influencing him as well? And I think Steph has done that. Like, he crosses all races, colors, everything. Like, Steph crosses all that. So I think he certainly is influential. People put AI in there, and deservedly so, but I think AI's influence was more limited. I think his influence was more on NBA culture, more on guys in the NBA playing basketball. I don't know if AI had that same type of crossover appeal that a Michael Jordan, that a Steph Curry has. I'm not sure if AI had that. I'm just not sure if
me, Jay?
I'm serious.
Man,
like I think
to China right now, you see people with his number 3 jersey and the headbands, the little kids in the suburbs. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I just
AI made hip hop okay amongst everybody.
I think his influence
to diversify
was
hip hop because of his influence.
I just think his influence was a little bit more narrow. I'm not sure that
absolutely.
I'm just not sure that everybody in America was on AI like that. I guess I'll say it that way. Yeah, I think it was more hip hop culture. I think it was more guys in the league. I'm not sure if Timmy out in the suburbs was cornrowing his hair because of AI.
To the suburbs.
I'm not sure.
Yes, I ended up moving to the suburbs at a very young age. So yes, Timmy out in the suburb was rocking the cornrows with the number 3 jersey. And I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm AI with the Reeboks, with the answers and the questions. That's all you seen. It was answers and questions growing up. At the time, there was really no Jordans was like your age at that time when I was growing up. When it was me, it was and1s and it was AIs. That was it. And then Jordans, as we get older, now we like, oh, I got to get the Jordans. So yes, the biggest influential I will put is Michael Jordan because he's signing players to this day and so forth. But Allen Iverson's impact, I think he had a greater impact than Steph Curry. Steph Curry, to me, has an impact as far as the 3-point shooting game and just transforming that part of it.
I think Steph Curry has literally changed the way that basketball is played. And I don't think you could say that about any other player, including MJ. Like, the way Steph Curry has transformed the way that people actually play basketball and the value of the 3-point shot and the spacing of the floor. Like, I don't think any other player has done that.
And that's fine, but you cannot knock Allen Iverson's influence on people.
It's not a knock. I'm not saying he wasn't influential. I'm just saying I wouldn't have him in the same category as MJ, and I would have Steph above AI in terms of influence. That's all I'm saying.
To me, AI had a lifestyle influence. He influenced people's lifestyles. Yes, Steph may have influence and changed the game, but AI influenced people's lifestyle. That's the major difference.
True.
So he had a huge impact.
I'm not saying he didn't. So I'm just saying I got Steph ahead of him in terms of influence.
I'm just kidding. All right, well,